Today, we will study the digestive system and how the human digestive system works. In this lecture, we will cover the following points. First, we will define the digestive system. Then, we will discuss the different types of digestive systems. After that, we will cover the organs involved in the digestive system. Next, we will look at the digestive pathway from start of digestion to the end point of digestion. After that, we will go over the process, how digestion takes place and the processes involved. Finally, we will study the functions of digestion. Let's start by defining the digestive system. You can find many definitions, but I have simplified it to make it easier for you. In simple terms, digestion involves three key things. First, the food we eat is complex, and this complex food is converted into a simple form. That is, whatever we eat consists of biological molecules such as proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. We consume these foods. So, in digestion, what happens is that proteins, which are complex foods, are broken down into amino acids. Similarly, lipids are broken down into fatty acids, and carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugars. So these biological molecules are converted into simpler forms. The second point is that the food particles we eat are large. So large food particles are broken down into smaller ones. That's the second point. The third point is that the food we eat is in an insoluble form, so our body converts it into a dissolved form. In this way, digestion is completed. So here's a simplified definition. Digestion is a process in which complex, large, and insoluble food is converted into simple, smaller, and soluble food particles. Now, let's move on to the types of digestion. There are two types of digestions. The first is mechanical digestion, and the second is chemical digestion. What is mechanical digestion? A type of digestion in which the food is physically broken down. That is, we physically digest the food, like chewing, mixing, churning, and crushing the food particles. We physically break them down into smaller pieces. The second type is chemical digestion. In this process, there are catabolic steps where food is broken down by enzymes and digestive juices. For example, amylase, HCl, and pepsin are enzymes that chemically digest food. This type of digestion is called chemical digestion. In our bodies, both types of digestion take place, that are mechanical and chemical. Now, let's move on to the organs involved in digestion. I have divided them into two categories. The first category includes the main organs involved in digestion, and the second category includes accessory organs. Accessory organs that assist in digestion, but are not part of the main digestive tract. The main organs include the mouth, intestines, and stomach. In the mouth, we have the tongue and teeth, which together make up the oral cavity. So, these are the main organs. The accessory organs include the salivary glands, liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. The salivary glands are located under the tongue. They are of three types: the sublingual gland, the submandibular glands, and the parotid glands. Now, let's move on to the pathway of digestion. Where does digestion start and where does it end? I am sure that you know that digestion begins in the mouth, the oral cavity. As soon as we take food into our oral cavity, digestion starts. We begin to chew the food. After that, the food moves into a tube called the pharynx. The pharynx leads to another tube called the esophagus. Here, there is an epiglottis that prevents the food from entering the larynx. As you know that the larynx leads to the lungs. So, first, the food moves from the oral cavity to pharynx, and then it moves to the esophagus. After the esophagus, the food reaches the stomach, where it stays for a few hours for digestion. In stomach, various enzymes are present, such as HCl, pepsin, and many other enzymes. Both chemical and mechanical digestion occur here. After several hours of digestion in the stomach, the food turns into a paste-like substance called chyme, which then moves into the small intestines. As soon as the food reaches the small intestines, and here on the side, you can see the liver and the pancreas, which is a leaf-like structure. They both send digestive enzymes to further digest food. The liver sends its juice, called bile, to the small intestines, and similarly, the pancreas sends its pancreatic juice. Both of these juices reach the small intestines and further digest the food. After the food is digested, it moves from the small intestines to the large intestines. As you can see on screen, this is the large intestines, which is also called the colon. There are three types of colon: ascending colon, transverse colon, and descending colon, because it moves upward. After that, it moves to the transverse colon, then to the descending colon. In this way, the food moves through the large intestines, and the entire digestive process is completed. The digested food is absorbed here. There are villi present in the large intestines, and inside them are blood capillaries. As our food is fully digested here, the undigested food then collects in the rectum, and through the anus, it is excreted via the process of defecation. Here, it marks the complete pathway of digestion. Now, let's talk about the process of digestion. How does the digestion process work? The digestion process is generally divided into 6 steps. The first step is ingestion, which means taking food into the mouth, the process of eating. As soon as we take food into the mouth, the second step is egestion. This is the last step of digestion and is also called defecation. So, egestion is the process of eliminating waste. Next comes propulsion. Let me tell you what propulsion is. As soon as we take food into the mouth, it moves downward, passing through the pharynx, then into the esophagus, and finally into the esophagus, and finally into the stomach. This process is called propulsion, where the food moves forward. The next step is digestion. What is digestion? Once the food reaches the stomach, the digestion process begins, as I explained earlier. The first step is absorption. Let me tell you what is absorption. I have mentioned earlier in this video that the digested food is absorbed through the villi in the small intestines. This process is called absorption. Next is assimilation. What is assimilation? Once the food is absorbed through, it enters the blood capillaries. The absorbed food is distributed through the blood to the body cells. This process is called assimilation. This means the distribution of absorbed nutrients to the body cells after digestion in the intestines. The final step is defecation. Here, the undigested food that couldn't be absorbed is excreted. This process is called defecation or egestion. So, this completes the process of digestion. Now, let's move on to the last part, the functions of digestion. If we talk about the functions, there are many functions of digestion, but I have summarized 3 main functions here. The first main function is to produce various chemicals to break down food. The first step involves the production of chemicals such as enzymes like pepsin, amylase, HCl or the pancreatic juice from the pancreas, and bile juice from the liver. These are all chemicals that help in digestion. The second function is filtering out harmful substances. Any harmful substances are filtered out during digestion. For example, bacteria present in the food are killed by the HCl in the stomach. In this way, harmful substances and bacteria are removed. The third function is the removal of solid waste. When we eat food, some solid waste is left over, which is not digested. We excrete this through the process of defecation, and thus the solid waste is eliminated. Question of the day. What is another name for the large intestine? Only a genius can answer in the comments below.